You're tuned into Inside Lowell. Inside Lowell podcast brought to you in part by Washington Savings Bank, serving the greater Lowell community for over 130 years. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank.
WellPoint. UniCare is now WellPoint. New name, same commitment to Massachusetts. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point.
Boston North Company, offering a wide variety of business solutions to help restaurant and retail clients save money. Boston North. Mahoney Oil Company, providing warmth and protection to families in Greater Lowell and Southern New Hampshire since 1925. That's Mahoney Oil. Francis E. Preventia Insurance. For auto, home, business, and life, trust the agency Greater Lowell has counted on for more than 40 years. Francis E. Preventia Insurance. GoPuff, a grocery store right at your fingertips. Use the code Lowell20 to receive $20 off your first order of $21, plus free delivery. Download the GoPuff app or visit gopuff.com today. And by the Massachusetts Pirates, bringing all the hard-hitting action and excitement of arena football to the Tsonga Center in Lowell. Get your tickets today by visiting masspiratesfootball.com. And now, time for another Inside Lowell podcast. Inside Lowell. If Lowell is your home, this is your place.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another Inside Lowell podcast. I am your host, Teddy Panos, coming to you from the WellPoint Studios here in downtown Lowell. UniCare is now WellPoint. New name, same commitment to Massachusetts and to their members. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Very excited for this podcast here. I've been excited all day because I started my day at an information session this morning, which starred, two of the people starring in it are my guests for this podcast. Left to right on your monitors, TV screens, however you're watching this podcast, we have UMass Lowell Chancellor Julie Chen, the real star of the day today, and Lowell City Manager Tom Golden, who was a pretty good supporting actor. From what I got, he and Marty Meehan did great in their supporting roles. But first of all, welcome to the two of you. It's great to have you here, and thank you for this, because what you guys unveiled this morning to a small group, and now you're going with the wider informational campaign, is exciting. It's groundbreaking, and dare I say, it is the next economic revolution in the city of Lowell. And if you follow Inside Lowell, InsideLowell.com, we put an article up there late this morning, and it spells out as much of the details as I can remember and write down. But it also, there's so much more still to come. We'll see how much we can coax out of the two of you today. But at the very least, for those who weren't able to be there, and you read a story online on Inside Lowell or in the Lowell Sun, or you hear stuff on the radio, and you're not getting the full presentation. So I want to try to get as much of it as possible as we can. But let me just kind of start by putting out there that what we're all excited about is the Lowell Innovation Corridor, right?
Network.
Lowell Innovation Network Corridor.
Yes.
I know the abbreviation,
Link.
Lowell INC. Or
Lowell INC.
Link,
Right. Yeah.
which from a slogan and marketing standpoint is genius. What is the Lowell Innovation Network Corridor?
Yeah. First of all, thanks, Teddy, for having us in, because a big part of what we're trying to do is to get the message out so people understand what this can be and how it's going to transform the city. So the Lowell Innovation Network Corridor is this vision of a private-public partnership that encompasses certainly some buildings on the University East Campus, but it's really much broader than that. It's really a partnership that is going to draw companies with great jobs to the city, work hand in hand with the city in terms of housing, transportation, those things, to make sure we create this urban village feel where people can move around easily, have great jobs, and then be able to afford to spend money, frankly, at our restaurants and retail and things like that. So, but the catalyst part of it is this private-public partnership with a developer, GMH Wexford, where they are going to build two buildings that total about 600,000 square feet that will be co-location, which means that the university will occupy about 20%, and the rest of it will be occupied by companies that are paying rent to the private developer. And then the other piece of it is young professional housing. So apartments that are sized so that the cost is something that a recent graduate can afford. And one of the things we're excited about, of course, is keeping more of our 4,500 graduates a year here in Lowell to, raise a family, build a career.
From your perspective, Manager Golden, what did today mean to you, and what does it mean?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing is that talking about what Link or Lowell Inc. is going to do, it's explosive. It's explosive when it comes to growth. It's really the next step for the city. But I know that some folks will be shaking their head right out of the gate. Oh, the old famous public-private partnership, But, I mean, and I'm going to let Julie talk. I know the numbers that we have, but when you really start to think about what they're bringing into the city, and the fact that the majority of the buildings, with the exception of the student housing, which is phase 3, this is all private buildings. And the private buildings do indeed pay taxes. So I'm glad to say the number, but I'd rather have the Chancellor talk about the actual number, and that's today's number. About the excitement that is happening today. And I have to say it's because of the leadership. It's because of the lead actor here, and all of us are playing a supporting role to make sure that the relationship between the state, the federal government, the city, and, of course, the university being part of the state. But the university is kind of stepping out on its own and really showing leadership. And it's under Chancellor Chen that this is all happening. We had a discussion earlier today when did we really start talking about this? Yeah. And it was probably 14 to 16 months ago. However, the collection of the site, which I know the Chancellor is going to be pointing out and talking about in a few moments, but that collection of things have been happening over the past 16, 17, 18 years, maybe plus. So it's a really exciting time. But the public-private partnership, I want to throw that number because I don't. I want to say it so bad because I know it. But it's to let the viewers know and everybody understand that this is a real, true partnership between the city's got responsibility, the state has responsibility, the university has responsibility, but the private partner is bringing in.
Yeah. So the private partner is bringing in over $600 million of their own money into the project. And, at a very rough estimate, just by the activity in the building, there's an estimate that would generate somewhere between $4 and $6 million a year for a city in terms of taxes. And frankly, that doesn't even count the part I think that we're excited about, which is 2,000 new jobs. And those are jobs that are going to bring, good salaries, discretionary income, and that spending that will help energize the city and the downtown area is the other piece.
And to be clear, these are permanent jobs. On top of that, as you showed today on one of your slides, 1,300 construction jobs just over the next couple of years to get this built, which are also good paying jobs and will very likely employ a lot of the hardworking men and women from our community as well. So, and so you talked about the $600 million private investment.
Yes.
The total investment just a little south of $800 million, meaning that over 75% of it is taxable. That's the part that excited me, because right now that's all university land, right?
Let's talk about it.
It's not taxable. It's zero right now. The city is getting zero from this, from these parcels right now that comprise East Campus and Link.
So someone's saying East Campus. What does that mean? What does that mean? LaLasha Ballpark. Walk out the door of LaLasha Ballpark and walk all the way down to Tsongas Arena. Right, and that's straight away, and be into the right of the Tsongas Arena. That is where this 10 acres that the Chancellor has envisioned. What's happening with Lowell Inc. And people say to this, but there's not a lot of room over there. But that's okay. There's going to be a lot of room over there. There's going to be a lot of space over there, and that's for organizations and companies that know the leadership that UMass Lowell has given. And people, sometimes we're our worst critics, right? We're very, very, but I mean, UMass Lowell, number one here with the amount of money he's bringing in from the federal, from federal grants, the excitement from large corporations that have been with the university, are continuing to be with the university because of the cutting edge research they do, and are in some aspects doubling down to the university. So I'm excited. I mean, I'm ecstatic.
In case you can't tell, all three of us in this room are excited. And I'm going to ask you to go back to your teaching roots in a second, Chancellor Chen, because we've got a whole bunch of new toys here in the WellPoint studios, and we want to put them to use, including you.
And she is all excited about getting up at the board.
Showing us some things. But one of the things that kind of struck me is that your inauguration ceremony, you unveiled that your vision is that every student at UMass Lowell will have the opportunity to have an internship as part of their paid internship as part of their studies. And it struck me that basically this is you creating it, because it's literally the jobs, the companies that they will be working for in some of these fields, a walk away from their dorm rooms or the campus. So I would imagine as this development kept going on, that was one of the central things in your mind.
It was, because one of the things I in talking to some students, right? I talked to some students, and if they don't have a car, they don't have as much opportunity to do that paid internship, right? If they have to take an hour and a half to get into Boston and another hour and a half to come up, that cuts into their ability to take classes while they're doing these internships. And so everybody's worried about how long it takes to graduate, right? My opinion has always been, well, I don't believe in the rush through it and get it done as soon as possible, and without getting these types of experiences that enhance your ability to have a great career when you graduate. And so this is sort of the perfect world, because you can get your paid internship and you can be taking classes at the same time, right? You don't lose any time in that, and you get that professional network and that professional experience. So that's a big part of this. Now, we're not expecting all of our 17,000 students to work in these companies, but a good percentage, will have that opportunity.
And those companies are going to call off. They're going to bring. They're going to.
They are 100%.
They're going to say Panos yes, Golden no.
In the broadcast industry that I was in, you did an internship, and if you were lucky, if you were in the right place at the right time and did a good job, you had a chance to be hired. That's how I landed my first job. And those were just internships with a $15 a day stipend to drive into Government Center in Boston. You're actually talking about paid jobs, now if you're the corporation, you've already seen these people working. So now you don't see them once or twice a week.
Yeah, the supervisor has already checked out
40 hours, and you know that. You know what? I will hire this person, because a lot of the learning curve is now gone. So it's a tremendous opportunity for the students fortunate enough to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and it's very much so. I mean, I say to companies all the time, because there is this continuous demand for talent, and I say, great if you come to our career fair, but if your only thing you do is come to the career fair, that's not the best way to get the best student, because the best student is doing exactly what you want. Support them when they're a sophomore, junior, figure out whether or not they're the right fit, and they'll figure out whether you're the right fit as a company, and that's how you get the best.
Help them grow.
Help them grow
into, I mean, there isn't a sophomore out there that would know, boy, am I going to be very good at this? But you know something? There's a sophomore and there's a freshman, I'm sure, that can be taught how to, why does this make sense? Why, especially in the engineering field, what makes sense here? Why does this work? And putting this practical stuff to work. And now all of a sudden, maybe the classroom makes a little bit more sense too.
And we've seen that too. Once kids go out and do a internship or co-op and they come back, suddenly they're much more engaged in the classroom, because they understand why they're learning things. The other thing I think that's important to recognize is sometimes people go, oh, these are just opportunities for engineers, right? And computer scientists. No, these are companies that are going to need to hire business people, right? They're going to need to hire people ultimately for HR and
HR, finance, accounting,
right?
All of this.
And so there'll be opportunities for all our majors to work at these companies.
Yeah, one of the things you highlighted today, and I know Superintendent of Lowell Schools Liam Skinner was very excited about, is look, this could create opportunities for high school graduates as well.
And that's what we talked. We've talked about that. Chancellor and I have been talking about how to capture that high school GED, someone that can really grow in any one of these companies that don't exist here today, but may very well come here because of the talent pool. I mean, the Chancellor discussed about the number of students that she has, the number of students at Lowell High, the number of students at the Greater Lowell Tech, Middlesex as well. And there's a plethora of people here that are ready, willing, and able to work. And this is a taste of which what I believe is going to be a tremendous success.
UMass Lowell Chancellor Julie Chen, Lowell City Manager Tom Golden are joining us here in the studios. So let's give you a chance to play college professional.
Okay.
Look at it. Clear the route.
We're gonna send you on over to our whiteboard here.
Okay.
But
either that or I'm doing a Kaneki invitation.
there you go. We'll get you digital toys for a future podcast. But so East Campus, for those who are not aware, is soon to be renamed Lowell Innovation Network Corridor. That's going to become our vernacular.
Yeah.
Kind of go through the steps here of what exactly it entails and what's going where.
Yeah. So as the city manager mentioned, just to get you framed, right? We've got LeLacheur Ballpark here, right? Fox Hall, the big tower dorm, all the way to the Tsongas Center on the right here. The two plots, right, that we will start with, phase 1 is right here, and that would have
And
one of the
folks
sets.
a little clearer look at it as well
So
as you're
see
pointing.
Number 1, that would have a pair of the co-location university industry building and the housing. And then plot number 2 here, right next to the Tsongas, would have another pair of a co-location university industry building and housing next to that. So those are the 2 locations that have that combination. Over here on lot 3, right next to the ballpark, that's where we're anticipating eventually building a new student dorm or residence hall. And so it'll be on a parallel track. It doesn't have to be sequential with these other 2 phases.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, so we've got 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Kind of one of the surprises.
This is my favorite one, I'll be honest with you. This is my absolute
was
favorite.
phase 0. And that's the part that's most exciting, because for somebody who thinks this is a pipe dream, a couple of years down the road, phase 0 is coming by the time you get your next calendar in for 2025, right?
That is very right, because we talked to, as you can imagine, we've been talking to a lot of companies and entities about would this be something that they would come and do. And they have all, for the same reasons we're excited, have gotten really excited about being here. So their first comment is, great, when can I move in?
and let's be clear, there's not a building there yet. So how do you convince them, right, Chancellor, that we're committed, we're going to make this happen.
Right.
Yeah, what you do is you uproot a whole bunch of your staff and tell them, get out of here. We got some people that we need to bring in.
That's right. Due to technical difficulties, some people are moving around campus,
We are thankful that in the part of Wanalancet Mills that we own, we have mostly administrative offices. And so we're able to move a lot of those administrative offices to other parts of our campus. One of those silver linings, I guess, of the pandemic, we learned how to work hybrid, right? And so you don't need as many offices as you used to have, because not everybody's in Monday through Friday, right? So we're able to do a hybrid approach to consolidate those offices. And so that leaves about 90,000 square feet that we are using to anchor these companies to Lowell.
So they're sending Teddy, you're going to Lowell now, as opposed to wherever they are today.
But that's actually kind of brilliant, because as you pointed out this morning, if you wait a couple of years till something changes, then the economic conditions change, and suddenly the company says, you know what? Maybe we'll expand elsewhere, or maybe we won't expand. Once you got them here, maybe they close down their operations somewhere else and bring it into Lowell, because they're like, hey, look, we got a college campus right next to us, right?
Phase 0. I have to tell you, and I have to make this clear. Phase 0. I had told the Chancellor, I said, I'm going to tell everyone that was me. That this is such a great idea about now the companies, which hopefully will be talked about soon, not right this second. But now they're anchored. Now they're here. Now their people are here, and they're going to be able to look out their window and say, "Wow, there's my building."
Right.
And that ownership really starts to come into play.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the companies generally, and you mentioned them generally this morning as well. I'm going to call up my next slide here, Chancellor Chen, and there it is right there.
Yeah.
You're very good at that.
So I spent an hour before you two arrived practicing this, and I got on the phone with my technical director. But I'm going to give you one more chance. If you'd like to just throw a tease at one company, nobody's going to watch this. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah.
No tease or anything, and no names.
No teaser names, but as you can see on the slide you brought up, right?
Look at the redirect.
I mean, these are some of the areas, and one of the things we felt was very important is we did not want to be a one technology town, right? Or a one company town. We may have some large companies that are going to be anchor tenants in this, but they're companies that have a variety of areas that they work in. Because that gives us resilience as a city. And so those are the areas that you see that we have strength in as a university. That's why they're interested in coming and working with us in those areas. B, their priorities for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And C, they're also priorities for the federal government. So there's a lot of federal government funding that will fund equipment and projects and things like that for these various areas.
And they're actually, as we bring up the list again, these are the industries of the future. They're here now, but everybody tells you STEM. That's where it's at. That's where the jobs are going. And look, I mean, you've got it all, right? Robotics, biotech and biomed, space technology, environmental stuff, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and then the one with the most potential for fun is the human performance one. I see you with the
VR glasses.
Yeah, the virtual reality glasses there. But again, this is all futuristic stuff, and this is the stuff the future generations are going to talk about. They're really not going to be talking about the shoe factories that my parents worked in when they first came here, whatnot.
But they may be talking about very advanced shoes going forward.
But isn't it interesting? It's across the street from the Hub Hosiery.
Yeah.
Think about that. How the city has come full circle.
Yeah.
Right? The Hub Hosiery is directly across the street that the university owns, and that was socks and so on and so forth. But I mean, this is really the city of Lowell with 100% lead the university changing what tomorrow is going to look like, and it's consistently. And I think that the 5 floors representing that at any point in time, floor 3 may change, floor 1 may change to what the technology of tomorrow is. Very similar to the tech building, the 110 Canal building, but also the building. 𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸. Sorry, I said 𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸. Yes.
Sorry, I know.
So but I mean that 𝐸𝐸𝐸 building, we spent so much time.
Right.
So many years ago, we started out at nanotechnology.
Yeah.
And nanotechnology wasn't small enough. So it was actually, then Vice Chancellor came up and we said, we have to talk about 𝐸𝐸𝐸, right?
Yeah.
And how it's changing. And nanotechnology, that's not discussed anymore because it's something.
Because it's embedded within so much, right? It's a tool.
It's more of a tool, but this building that we have over there is similar. It can grow. It can change very quickly. And that's the building that's located right on the VFW Highway and University Ave. One of the newest buildings, I would say, but not the newest.
Yeah.
So how soon before some of these companies actually relocate here? You said by the end of 2024. There's 9 months left in the year, so you've got 9 months for one or two to move in. But are we talking about within like a season before the end of summer? Are we talking later in the fall, at the start of it? What are we talking about?
He's bringing you in.
I think a lot of them will be moving in over the summer. The ones that are might be a little delayed is if we have to do more to the space, right? If they're going to move in just some people into offices as a short term, we could do that right away, and that's going to happen in the next couple months. There's a few that will need more changes to the space, and that takes a little bit longer.
Your point about it being ironic that it's right across the street from the Hub Hosiery.
Right.
Yeah.
There was some smart person who wrote a column today that said the Industrial Revolution really was born on much of that land.
It really was.
And now the next economic revolution is coming. The word transformative comes to mind a lot now. How does this transform the city?
I mean,
where does it allow you to now have more flexibility to do other things and attract other folks here?
Well, and people have said this, coming in off of the Lowell Connector and coming down Thorndike Street and the Big Phil and the jokes and all that business, right? Well, doesn't it look different today, right? As you're coming in off the connector and you're going by the old Comfort Furniture, which is a brand new building, brand new housing, coming in smooth. HCID needs to be talked about, right? The Hamilton Canal Innovation District needs to be talked about. But as you continue to come into what I'm referring to as an explosive opportunity for jobs, for techs, these companies that the Chancellor will be talking about at some point in time, other companies want to be, companies like that, they want to be situated near each other, right? And there's no surprise, if you want to break it down, to anywhere USA. If there's a McDonald's, there's a Burger King. If there's a Burger King, there's a one. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All of these companies want to be near each other, and they want to be near something that is exciting. What is exciting? UMass Lowell. Why is that exciting? Because it has the people, because it has the population, because we can fill the positions. There's a lot of excitement in this area, and now bringing that back and that explosive opportunity. Of course, we're hoping and thinking about what that means to the downtown as one of the potential bookends of the city, and putting the downtown in the middle and kind of coming at it from different areas.
So this stuff about Link is relatively new. Hamilton Canal, unfortunately, is relatively old. We're talking 15 plus years now of waiting for that promise to be fulfilled. How confident are you that what happens over at East Campus and Link will now be able to create some type of economic engine at Hamilton Canal? And I know there's always going to be some component of housing, as there is going to be at Link, but how much ammunition does this give you to now go out and pitch companies? By the way, they're out of room over there, or they will be out of room pretty soon, right? You're going to be out of room pretty soon, right, Chancellor Chen?
Yeah. No, we do anticipate it'll be filled pretty quickly. So,
so now you can offer some space that, as you said, now you've got a bookend.
And the Chancellor and I have been talking about this, and honestly, we've had this discussion, and hold on, please hold on. And I'm like, I agree with you. We agreed with each other.
Right.
We're pulling back and forth, and hold on, because there are a lot of people saying, let's just go housing, let's just call it a day. But I think that when you start to bring in the train station, now once again, people that live in Lowell, may or may not take the train, but a lot more people could. And there are so many opportunities for market rate housing in and around that area. There's opportunity in and around Appleton and Middlesex Street for growth. There's opportunity for spillover, which maybe we would call that, right?
Yeah.
That Link is built out so quickly and everyone's so aggressive about it that we have that opportunity for HCID. Well, what's in between HCID, Link, is the downtown. And it's really that opportunity that I've always been concerned with, is that I'm going to refer to it as the old downtown, right? That would be forgotten. And Hamilton Canal would be the new area. Well, with Link there now, you're less than a mile away.
Right.
And when the Chancellor is talking about creating an area, we're not talking about a desert. The one thing we talked about was the bridges and how to get there and how to get pedestrian traffic there. So there's a lot still going on, but there's so many people, once again, that are excited about coming into Link. Now it's starting to all make sense, from the perspective of coming in off the highway. You have a newer building, you have a newer roadway that does look a lot better, that is going to encourage people, pedestrian traffic. You couldn't cross that years ago. You'd know that. Today you can.
Yeah.
And then when the city starts to release more of its plan about the market rate housing in that area, which is right along what we're trying to accomplish with the MBTA zoning, which the city council has put forth already, the DMU zoning, we could get into a zoning piece, but this is all leading, and the explosiveness of Link, I think, is going to really give us that new breath of fresh air for Hamilton Canal as well as the rest of the downtown.
You both have thrown the word partnership around, public-private partnership, but I want to talk about the partnership between the university and the city, and it was actually addressed today by now UMass President Marty Meehan, who was also beaming, because this is kind of his vision from 2007 when he left Congress, and he was buying up those parcels of land. He had a vision.
There was another guy too. There was a guy.
There were a few state reps, and
I got to throw out one person. Stevie Panchatakis was the chair.
Correct.
Of the time, and we were collecting at the time. It was not clean. It's nothing, but I mean, that's the Lawrence Mills site. That Lawrence Reuse Subcommittee started collecting all of this land on behalf of the university. I was glad and very happy to be a part of it, as Steve was the chair. And this is a vision that has come this way. And it's a true partnership of trying to put this together.
And President Meehan said that in his 40 years of being in whether it was Congress or he actually even talked about working as an aide at City Hall.
Yeah.
He said that the relationship
To the city manager. I told him he could come back and work for the same pay. For the same pay.
He said he feels like the relationship has never been better. I kind of see the partnership between you two. I've seen you through the last couple of years interact when you're out at events. I've seen you out to lunch from time to time, and it really does seem like there's a partnership, and you both. He's always praising you, but today you made a point to kind of praise Manager Golden and say, this doesn't happen without him, and that he was there with you on a lot of these meetings and a trip to Philadelphia that I want to talk about as well.
And one down to D.C. too for
the 14-hour planes, trains, and automobiles. We're not talking about that ever again. We're not doing that again.
What do you like as a traveler?
14 hours. She only fed me, okay, in the airports. That's it. 14 hours I had airport food and the same day. And I was running after her. I'm like, what is going on here?
She had things to get across.
Yes.
She doesn't dilly-dally like you do. But talk a little bit about it. It does seem like a true partnership now, and a lot of folks who are going to scoff, especially the naysayers, but it certainly seems like the two of you are rowing the boat in unison as opposed to trying to get to your side of the river.
Yeah, I think that's so true. I mean, this, it always looks easy when it's done and people go, oh yeah, that was no problem. But these things are not easy to do because you do have to get a lot of different things. And I'll tell you very early on, when we first started talking to GMH in Wexford, one of the first questions they asked is, how difficult is the city going to be in terms of permitting and zoning?
Right.
And Tom was there,
Yep.
and he stood up and he say the city will not be an issue. And
Right. But it's something that we've done for all developers. Any developers that are coming in, I make sure that there is one point person. Yeah. There's no, Teddy Panos wants to come in. He doesn't need to talk to this one, that one. No. Ted Panos has one person, and all of that entire team behind them knows that when, and I'll say like Giovanni. Right? If Giovanni's your point person, then Giovanni knows who she has to contact. I don't need Teddy Panos, the developer, running around looking to figure out who is over here in DDS, who is over here in DPH, who is over here.
Getting the runaround, right? Talk to that, but you have to, and that was
so that true important. Point of contact has stayed true for the university. Yeah. It's been for other developments that we have going on throughout the city right now to once again ensure that the developer feels that we want them here. And that's kind of the main piece. Developers can choose to go almost any place. Yeah. This developer chose to come here. Throughout the country, chose to come to the city of Lowell because of the talent that UMass Lowell has and the connections that they have with all the money that's coming in through the federal grants, with everything that you noticed on floors 1 through 5. So
it's almost like you're good at this because you took me where I was going next. The naysayers will say, and I'll be honest with you, I used to be one, and I've heard already from a couple of folks who said to me, today sounds great. I read your articles. Just wait till this developer comes in, gets all the TIFs, and throws a couple of jobs in there, and then in 5 to 10 years, nothing's built and everything's gone. And listen, to be fair, we've seen that in Hamilton Canal with multiple developers, and it's still sitting there largely undeveloped from an economic standpoint, except for the Canal Place building that the university.
When development, we have 3 major parcels that are left, really.
Why is this different? And I'm going to give you kind of a chance to talk about the developer, who will be very well known soon, GMH. Wexford. Yeah. This isn't their first rodeo. They have done this in dozens of places, college towns. Yeah. And these trips that you folks went on, you actually saw it in person, right? Saw it.
Yeah. GMH and Wexford as a partnership team has done this in almost 20 places across the country. And they specifically look for universities that have great partnerships with industry, which is what UMass Lowell does. And they look for a city that is a place that employees are attracted to live. And so when they looked around, they said, Lowell has all the pieces to be successful. We visited their development in Philadelphia. It's actually, in that case, it's a partnership with Drexel and UPenn. it's amazing. We walked through their housing and we were all like, sign me up, right? I'd love
I want to go back
here.
to school.
I know. Yeah.
So they have done these developments everywhere. East Coast, South,
Right.
West Coast. They're out of UC Davis. I believe they're in a number of places,
Duke,
right?
right? Duke, Wake Forest, right? These are all university partnerships and private development of industry buildings and professional housing.
And look, there's few people as sarcastic as I am, and we can all kind of get down on our city. But if you think about it, there's 5 UMass campuses, right?
Yeah.
They chose the one in Lowell.
They chose
Right,
one
they
of
didn't.
those.
They didn't go to Amherst.
No.
They didn't go to Boston or Dartmouth or Worcester.
Yeah.
They chose Lowell.
They chose
and it's kind of specifically for some of the things you two just talked about.
It really is. I mean, but it's really to do with the talent at the university. I'm a big fan. I was a graduate of UMass, but at the same side of this whole piece is we're close to Boston.
Yeah.
We're just, we have a train station. We can get into New Hampshire because what I'm saying in New Hampshire, there's the airports up in New Hampshire or the airports in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
This is all important for some of these cutting edge companies that are going to be coming here. So that's where the excitement starts. But to get back to the partnership, it's more, to be honest with you, it's more of a friendship, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we're talking about not this, but not often. This is really an often discussion, and it has been an often discussion. But it's more of a friendship about how do we together work to change something. And the naysayers are going to, what if? I can absolutely, positively guarantee you there will be a hiccup, an issue, something that we're going to get challenged with. But you know something? At the end of the day, it's getting to yes, trying to figure out what the problem is. And I mean, you couldn't have a better partner than Julie that knows how to work through this stuff. Some of the issues we've already worked through, and where some people would have probably thrown their hands up and said, we can't get there. Well, throw another problem at us. I'd prefer not, to be honest with you, but we're just going to work through the problems. That's all. It's not really, if you both have, or all of us, I should say, because it's not just you and I, it's a whole team. We have teams of people that work with me and work with her. The planning and development team is already meeting prior to a shovel going in the ground, prior to anything happening. They're already discussing, this is what we're going to have to do over here. This is how this is going to work. And I think that's what I had committed to prior when we met. I keep saying 16 months ago. We really need to know this date. But it was 16, 18 months ago. That one-on-one service is vitally important because the organization that the Chancellor brought forward, they can go any place in the country. And I need to make sure that they want to be here. You know, TIFs, anything like that. Currently, right now, in that 10 acres, we're receiving $0. $0. So we're not Cambridge, unfortunately. But no, I wouldn't want to be Cambridge, to be quite frank with you. Because my whole goal is to try to tell people in Cambridge, in Boston, if you're tired of paying all that money, I mean, why don't you come to Lowell? And one of our mutual friends is coming. He lives in Andover, found Lowell, and has now started three different companies. He's on his third one now, and whatever those folks do, and angel invest, and entrepreneurial. But he'll never go back. They'll never go back. They're just moving down here, and they love it, and they've been over to your place, and they love being in Lowell. And that's what our message from the city's perspective is going to be: is stay on 93 South, leave Boston, or leave wherever, and sit for an hour and 20 minutes to go 10 miles, or get on the train and be here in 52 minutes. 52. I think it's 52 minutes.
So you said bring it on. So let me ask, you did hold back some details. You're not mentioning any of the companies, which tells me this isn't 100% a done deal, right? What else needs to happen to ensure, and I'm hearing things about infrastructure and bridges. Today you were addressing bridges that need to be repaired down in that site or expanded. What else needs to happen before we can safely be in the end zone, see the ref's arms up, and spike the football? Because I feel like I'm prematurely celebrating right now, but
I think he's trying to suck you in.
Well, what needs to happen? He said TIFs.
Yeah.
He said tips. And listen, there's a good political argument to be made, and I'm sure you're going to hear it. But are you confident that this city council is on board and can do what is necessary? Because that's what it takes for these developers to come in.
I believe so. When you look at what is happening right now, the $0, it's zero, right? Yeah. And it's this is just how our tax system works. If we bring in $1, and if we need to be part of that solution to get 2,000 jobs, and we're not even talking about 2,000 coffees, 2,000, we're not talking about that portion of it, the spinoff from that. The fact of what it will do for the city of Lowell, the fact that it is true, it is very true, that even though the pricing up here in the city of Lowell is higher than we're used to, okay, than the people of Lowell are used to, it's a lot higher in and around Boston.
Yeah.
So it's incumbent upon us to make this happen, where we continue to take our commercial tax and bring it up. And and I really think TIFs work. Once again, if we're in Cambridge, nothing against Cambridge, but you don't have to do that. You can say you don't have to be here. Well, my hope is that companies throughout Boston, not just Cambridge, I'm kind of picking on them a little bit. They beat us out. They're the 4th largest city. But my hope is that people start to look at, gee, I can jump on a train, read the paper, do my thing, do whatever that is, be at a professional location, make it happen, and still be home back and forth in a matter of time. Because it's all about time. It's all about how much time do I have to be away from my family, my dog, my people, my things. And let me tell you, as someone that traveled in and out of Boston, 93, and anyone listening, 93 can be a nightmare. You can spend 45 minutes just on the 𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐿 Bridge, let alone going anyplace else.
Yeah.
So the fact that you've already basically begun making plans, you got the moving vans ready to relocate your people, tells me some of these companies that we're not naming, I guess I'm not going to get it out of either, that they've committed to coming here. But what else do you need for the whole thing to happen? I imagine there's got to be some cooperation from the governor's office, the legislature, and I think
the city council as well.
Right. The congresswoman's going to have to kind of probably find some money from DC and some of that transportation funding, I would imagine. How confident are you that can be secured?
Yeah, I'm quite confident at this point, because we've had multiple great conversations, and it's not like, we talk about federal dollars, and a lot of those are competitive, so you can't guarantee I'm going to get this grant. But we feel in terms of the funding that's available at the federal level, the support of Congresswoman Trahan's office, right, and others within the delegation, that there are enough of the federal dollars that will help buy equipment, help fit out the building, help basically provide projects and funding for people who are going to be working in these buildings. That is something that we're familiar with, right? We always say it didn't appear yesterday, right? As a university, UMass Lowell has been doing and growing its research over the last 20 plus years. And so we've gotten to the point where we understand how to work with companies to go after the federal dollars, and how to work with Congresswoman Trahan and the delegation to go after infrastructure dollars. The city has been greatly successful.
Well, but that's right. Our teams are working on this, and one of your teammates said to me, it should be illegal for us to have to fill out all this, because it was just another round of paperwork, and my teammates were there as well, and they were actually working together to write it together. They've been successful in the past, once again, together, talking to each other. What is this? There's no real pride of ownership, of authorship. It's mine. I did this. And I think that what my team and the Chancellor's team is doing is they're doing it together. So we've been successful because nobody's saying, look at me, I wrote this, and look what I won. And quite frankly, that's what I think when you leave the ego at the door, and we're trying to get the best for the city, the best for the university. If the university continues to grow and thrive, and pay taxes in this area,
through the private developer.
Right. This is just a partnership that is it's a true partnership where we're working together. Our folks are working together, and like I said, Julie and I are working together on this stuff. But I'm not going to DC with her again.
Not unless I promise to feed you better.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So one
I
other
had a
piece that we
burrito up
haven't quite touched on is the state role in this. Obviously, we've been talking very much with the state, and they've been supportive of this project. They recognize the things that are priorities to them, right? They want to keep more of that. They're losing that 25 to 35-year-old population, which is critical for the future of the state, right? They're having companies that are saying, I could move to North Carolina, I could move to New Hampshire, I could move, right? And we want to keep those good companies here in the state. The areas that we talk about are ones that the state has invested in and won, right? The chips and science, right? They got an Emmy Commons hub. ARPA-H, they got an ARPA-H hub. These are things that are areas that the state benefits by keeping these companies here in Massachusetts. And so we're hopeful that they will continue to be supportive in this process.
It's exciting times indeed. I'm going to call it up one more time there. Link, Lowell Innovation Network Corridor. There's a hint of some of the industries that will be calling our Mill City home, and there is where they will be located. Article on InsideLowell.com. Check it on out. I'm sure there's a lot more news coming in the coming weeks and months. And it really this is really a big day for the city of Lowell. I think I don't know what the newspapers were writing back in the 1840s when they discovered that 32-foot drop in the Merrimack.
That's right.
But I vaguely remember the excitement when the national park was kind of signed and created, and I think this is going to rival those as watershed moments.
It's it's a discussion that I'm having with former mayors and former city managers that are now in state government. And they're pointing and saying, it took me so long to do this much money over time. One of them being a dear friend, Jay Ash, and the other one being actually Lieutenant Governor. And, having the excitement here with the amount of money that's being spent. And once again, public-private, and that private money is coming in. Yeah. This is, it's second to none when it comes to this. And the fact that the Wanalancet Mills, the Chancellor has figured out how to move people around and, get that phase 0, which I have to give her full credit for. I mean, right when she said it, I'm like, oh my God, I wish I thought of that, because that phase 0 just roots people here, and it really starts to have ownership, real, true ownership of the area.
All right, Chancellor Chen, City Manager Golden, thank you very much. Congratulations on today, as I mentioned, is a great day. And thank you for coming on in here and sharing some more details. You actually gave some pretty good information there. Good. And we're definitely
kind of keeping this quiet for so long. It's like ready to burst.
We'll be back.
Ready to burst.
There's other things that you're keeping quiet, because if some of what I'm hearing is correct, it's, this is not just an empty promise.
It's better that I claim that she never told me.
This is a big deal, and it's diversified. We don't have all our eggs in the Wang basket.
That's right.
You can see the spin-off from that. So looking forward to the future announcements. Thank you.
Thank you
for
very
joining
much.
us here. And thank all of you for joining us here in the WellPoint studios as well on a big day today, Thursday, March 21st, 2024 for the city of Lowell. I think folks will remember it for some time to come. Keep following Inside Lowell for more details as they become available, and who knows, maybe we can torture them before they leave and we'll get even better stuff for you. But thank you as always for following Inside Lowell. As we like to say, if Lowell is your home, this is your place. Till next time, stay safe, everybody.